Briar faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Dodgers, left-hander Blake Snell, and for the Padres, right-hander Yu Darvish. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do as we get ready for a big series here in downtown San Diego. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We also hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado, tonight's DH Ryan O'Hearn, our keys to the game, and much, much more, including a check-in with Bob Scanlan in just a few minutes. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today 72-56. The Dodgers are 73-55. Padres trailing LA by just one game in the NL West standings entering the weekend. Important to note, the Dodgers have already won the season series and now hold the tiebreaker between these two teams. So the Padres have to finish ahead of the Dodgers to win the National League West. Last weekend was a rough one from a Padres standpoint. They were swept in a 3-game series in LA. Padres have won 3 in a row. They took 3 out of 4 from the Giants. Dodgers won in Colorado yesterday, but they split that 4-game series against the Rockies, the worst team in baseball. Before we turn our full attention to this big-time series, let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Padres trailed 2-0 going bottom 4 yesterday against San Francisco. Fernando Tatis Jr. doubled to start the bottom half of the 4th inning. Luis Arraez singled to send Tatis to third base. Manny Machado was next.
See if Arraez runs from first base. He does. Manny swings, loops it into shallow left center field. That's going to get down and a base hit. Tatis will come in to score. Arraez got a great read. He goes to third, and Manny Machado puts the Pods on the board. It's 2-1.
Xander Bogaerts hit a sac fly to score Arraez from third. We were tied at 2. Still a 2-2 game going bottom 5. Justin Verlander still on the mound. Ramon Laureano hit a leadoff single. Jake Cronenworth walked. Freddie Fermin was next.
Runners lead. Here's the pitch. He bunts it towards third base. Oh, it's a beauty. Picked up by Schmidt. Throw to first is wide, and it goes up the line. Laureano's on his way home, and the Padres take the lead. Now a little bit of a bobble in right by Matos, and Cronenworth will score. Oh, boy. 2 different errors on a bunt by Fermin. The Padres get 2, and they lead for the first time today. It's 4-2.
Fernando Tatis Jr. then bunted for a single. A couple of batters later, there were 2 in scoring position for Manny Machado.
Pitch here, laced into left center field. That's a base hit. Fermin has scored. Tatis is jogging home. Manny on his way to second base with a 2-run double. And the Padres have made it crooked here in the 5th inning. It's 6-2.
Later in the inning, it was the X-Man.
Xander cracks it on the ground at third base and through into left field, a base hit. Machado will trot home with another run. O'Hearn going first to third, right in Ramos's face. And the Padres add on at 7-2.
It was a 6-run, 6-hit bottom half of the 5th inning. Ramon Laureano completing the inning with an RBI single. Dylan Cecil had 4 runs in 5+ innings, but the bullpen did the rest. Final score yesterday, Padres 8 and the Giants 4 as the Padres win a 3rd consecutive game. They bounce back nicely after losing the series opener on Monday night, and now the Padres welcome in the LA Dodgers in a big series here at Petco Park. As always, if you want to get involved, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also chime in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from. And if you have a key to today's game, you can mention that as well. May just give you a shout out or read your key to the game live here on the air. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Bob Scanlan in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
All right, Scans, obviously a big-time series here in downtown San Diego. No secret, this series, same two teams last weekend in L.A., did not go particularly well for the Padres. If you were a guy inside that clubhouse, Scans, how would you view the second meeting in the last week between these two teams? Obviously, another very big series when you look at the NL West standings.
Look, they're all big series, right, Sam? And Mike Shildt talks about this, and I don't disagree with him. Just talking from a former player's perspective, every game is important, and to think that you're going to play less hard or be less intense for one game than another, that's just not how you go about a season if you're going to have a successful season. All that being said, we're human beings, right? And so you do get excited about certain games, even though you try to bring your A game every single night. The challenge is making sure that you don't get outside of your game, right? And I think that's what happened to the Padres in that last series in LA. It just didn't seem like we were watching the same Padre ball club that we had watched playing some of their best baseball this season just the day before against the Giants. So, it wasn't a good series. It wasn't a series where I felt like the Dodgers just completely outplayed the Padres playing their best baseball. No, I didn't feel like the Padres were playing even close to their best baseball. So it just comes back to getting back to being who you are, not trying to make too much of the situation, understanding that, this is one game, stay focused on what you need to do and play Padres baseball. Because when the Padres play Padres baseball, you see what they can do. They're a match for anybody in major leagues right now.
Our starting pitching matchup today, Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres, Blake Snell on the mound for LA. Let's start with Yu Darvish, Bob. Obviously, it was a really rough first inning on Sunday in LA, but then he settled in. From the Yu Darvish standpoint, what do you want to see today?
Just Yu Darvish being Yu Darvish, which is not, trying to do too much. I mean, the guy's throwing great. He made one bad pitch, and he talked about it after the ball game. I've never heard him talk about a pitch selection the way he did to that pitch to Freddie Freeman. He said, you know what? I regret that pitch. I shouldn't have thrown it. And I followed up, and I asked him, was it the execution of the pitch or the selection of the pitch? And he acknowledged the selection of the pitch. It was the third consecutive fastball to Freddie Freeman. And literally, after Freddie hit it, the first thought that came through my mind was, that was a third consecutive fastball. And Yu Darvish was thinking the same thing after the game. Like, you can't do that with Freddie Freeman. I think it was one pitch that cost him 3 runs in that situation. Other than that, like you said, Sam, he threw the ball fine. So I hope he just goes out and pitches the way we know Yu Darvish can pitch.
Blake Snell on the mound for the Dodgers here tonight, and Scansy's come off the IL. He's been really, really good. 13 consecutive scoreless innings going back to the 4th inning in his first start off the IL against Tampa Bay. He went 6 scoreless innings on Saturday against the Padres in LA. From the Padres offensive perspective, how do they get to Snell here tonight?
Well, look, if Blake Snell is on, everybody's asking that
tough.
Question, right?
Yeah.
He's tough, yeah. I mean, he's not a guy that has glaring weaknesses in terms of parts of the plate that you can just eliminate or certain pitches that you can just say he's not going to throw that for a strike and you check it off. This is a guy that's got nasty stuff. When he's got his fastball command, it's going to be a tough night. There's no way around it, And his last outing, by his own admission, didn't have his best fastball command, but because he's still got the great curveball, great slider, he's got all these other weapons that he can go to. Even when he's not at his best, he's still good enough to keep offenses in check. So, it's one of those nights when he's on, you better take advantage of the mistakes that you get and not help him out. And, we can go into more detail during the broadcast about what specifically left-handers might try to do against him versus what right-handers might try to do against him. Certain places that if you start chasing after certain pitches, you're in big trouble for that night. So we'll see if the Padres can use that discipline and, basically – Sam, the same discipline that we saw them use against the Giants and against Justin Verlander, where you're very selective, you know what the situation is, have your at-bat, play to the situation, and then execute what you need to get done. If they do that, that's their best chance to come out with wins, and that's really the best way the Padres baseball offense works.
First start for Blake Snell here at Petco Park since he won a Cy Young with the Padres in 2023. We'll see if the Padres can get to him here tonight. Series opener coming up at 6:40. Scans, we'll talk to you and Jesse at 6:30. As always, thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sam.
All right, that was Bob Scanlan joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch coming up in just a little bit. A big one here in downtown San Diego. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Plus, a little bit later, we hear from Manny Machado and Ryan O'Hearn. We're just getting started on our pregame coverage from Petco Park. We return with more after this on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 6:40, series opener between the Padres and Dodgers. The West Divisional Showdown against Los Angeles is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. Let's take a look at the Padres lineup today. It looks like this: Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off, Luis Arraez at first base batting second, Manny Machado at third base batting third, Ryan O'Hearn the DH batting cleanup, Xander Bogaerts the shortstop batting fifth, Gavin Sheets in left field today batting sixth, Ramon Laureano in center field batting seventh, Jake Cronenworth at second base tonight batting eighth, and Freddie Fermin doing the catching and batting ninth, with Yu Darvish on the mound. Former Padre Blake Snell on the mound tonight for LA. You'll notice there that Jackson Merrill is once again not in the lineup today, still dealing with that left ankle injury that he hurt back on Friday a week ago in LA. Of course, Merrill started Saturday's game and Sunday's game in LA, but came out of Sunday's game. We have not seen Jackson since. So this is a fifth consecutive game where he's not in the lineup. Padres have not put him on the IL, though, and from what I understand, they were going to have to put him on the IL today in order to make it retro to a few days ago. So from what I understand, this would be the last day they could make it retroactive. So we'll see what the deal is. Maybe a move will come down before first pitch. I don't know. But Merrill, again, is not in the lineup. 5th consecutive game where he is not in the lineup. So with that in mind, and with the Padres playing this big series against the Dodgers, just one game out of first place in the NL West, let's hear from the Padre manager.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Can I get an update on Jackson Merrill, where he stands, where you are with him?
We sat down with Jackson today. He feels better today, incremental improvement, the most improvement he's had since the beginning of this. And we're still in the evaluation mode about what it looks like, but he is improving, and we'll see what he's available for today.
So clearly no decision on an IL stint if it's coming. You're going to take another couple of days to evaluate?
No clear decision. That's correct.
Okay. What's the latest on Michael King and his schedule?
Michael's going to throw a simulated game here on Sunday, and then based on that, we'll evaluate what happens next.
So Jackson, how do you balance knowing like what you can backdate to and when you could become available again versus need for now?
I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's a balancing act. We want to clearly have Jackson on our team, so we want to see what that looks like and when that be a real possibility and whatever role that could be, whether it's off the bench or clearly getting back in the lineup versus, backdating it and knowing that, we're playing with a, roster that's a little shorter. So had that conversation today. We feel comfortable where we are, and it's just going to be a literal day-to-day evaluation. And if we get to a point sooner rather than later that we don't believe, within a 3-day period he's going to be able to come back and contribute, then we'll have to consider doing something.
The improvement, like how would you quantify what the improvement is?
Like I said, it's kind of hard to actually quantify, but there's definitely a couple step functions of improvement today relative to what the 4 days previous were, which were kind of flatlined.
Has he done anything like
no, I mean, we're just making sure he's combination resting and getting the exercise and getting the treatment. He's working on the bunting to keep his timing with his eyes down, and but as far as baseball activity, nothing otherwise.
Repeated the question we asked you a week ago. Is this just another series?
Yeah, we have however many series on the schedule that we play, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's it's got significance. Obviously, I mean, we're right there, for the National League West, right in the position we expected to be in, and this is what we play for. So, to say it's just another series would be not completely accurate in a sense, but yeah, we're excited about it, and it's a great opportunity for us, and we're ready to go.
How important is it for this team to have a chance to control their own destiny come playoff time, come division?
Oh, I think it's really important. Listen, that's what we talk about from spring training into the season, and it's what we can do and what we can control, and our expectations for our team, and people have the expectations, understandably, externally, but internally, our expectations are to win this division and take care of business every single day. So that's what we look to do.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt back with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch. Coming up at 6:40, a big-time series, Padres and the Dodgers coming your way. Before we continue on, let's quickly take a pause for station ID on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN-FM and KWFN-HD1, San Diego.
This is Manny Machado from the San Diego Padres. The Padres, they're here. 97.3, The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
First pitch coming up at 6:40 here in downtown San Diego on a gorgeous early Friday evening. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres today. Blake Snell on the mound for LA. Let's take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you Around the Horn, presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Some headlines from around the major leagues. The Red Sox are pulling right-hander Walker Buehler from the rotation and sending the struggling right-hander to the bullpen. Alex Cora said earlier today before the Red Sox game against the Yankees that he will now have a new role in the bullpen, and so we'll see how that goes for the Red Sox and Walker Buehler. The Brewers put shortstop Joey Ortiz on the 10-day IL earlier today with a strained left hamstring, leaving the NL Central leading Brewers without their starting shortstop. Adrian Beltre had a statue unveiled in Arlington today. Hall of Fame third baseman now has that statue to go along with his bust in Cooperstown. The Rangers unveiling earlier today a life-size bronze statue of the first ballot Hall of Famer. The pose of him hitting a home run with his knee on the ground like he did so many times in his career. He joins Nolan Ryan and Pudge Rodriguez as players to have statues outside of Globe Life Field in Arlington. You might remember Landon Root came out of the game on Wednesday for the Giants. He went on the IL today with left knee inflammation after he was hit by a ball here at Petco Park on Wednesday. A line drive off the bat of Ramon Laureano. And Giants manager Bob Melvin said, quote, based on what we're seeing, we're kind of holding our breath. I think at least to this point, it's good news. Just a bone bruise, a pretty good bone bruise. Not like he's going to be back in a day or so, but according to Bob Melvin, doesn't look like Landon Root will require surgery. Orioles earlier today signed catcher Samuel Basayo to an 8-year extension, locking up one of the top prospects in baseball less than a week after he made his major league debut. According to ESPN, the deal is worth $67 million and includes a $5 million signing bonus. And finally, Rangers putting center fielder Evan Carter on the IL earlier today with what will likely be a season-ending right wrist fracture. And bad news, obviously, for the Rangers. And that's a look at some of the headlines from around the major leagues as we go into the weekend. When we come back, we'll hear from Ryan O'Hearn and Manny Machado. We have our keys to today's game. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Game one of a big series between the Padres and Dodgers coming your way right here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you as we get ready for today's game against the Los Angeles Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres tonight in Game 1 of this 3-game series. And old friend Blake Snell on the mound for LA. The West Divisional Showdown against Los Angeles is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. We'll hear from Manny Machado and Ryan O'Hearn in just a little bit. First, let's tell you about one key reliever that is back for the Dodgers.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, the Dodgers got a key reliever back earlier today. Tanner Scott reinstated from the IL today. He's been out since July 22nd with left elbow inflammation. This season, Scott is 1-2 with a 4.14 ERA in 47 games with a team-leading 19 saves and 50 strikeouts in 45 2/3 innings. Of course, Scott signing with the Dodgers after he played for the Padres in the second half of 2024. So that's good news for the Dodgers. They got Tanner Scott back. As far as the Padres, as we talked about a little bit earlier, we heard from Mike Shildt on it. Jackson Merrill, again, out of the lineup today for a 5th consecutive game. Merrill not put on the IL, but again, he is out of the lineup today for a 5th consecutive game as he continues to deal with that left ankle injury. Sounds like a sprain and a bone bruise that Jackson Merrill continues to deal with. And that's a look at our injury report on this Friday. Sounds like the Dodgers are going to get Kirby Yates back this weekend. And, of course, Yates, a fellow former Padre, just like Tanner Scott, just like Blake Snell, who takes the mound tonight for L.A. Well, Ryan O'Hearn does have a home run in his career against Blake Snell. That came when Blake was a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. Ryan O'Hearn getting the start tonight against the left-hander, DHing and batting cleanup. Ryan O'Hearn spoke inside the clubhouse earlier today. Obviously, it's a big series between the Padres and Dodgers. Here was O'Hearn on how he approaches a series like this.
Yeah, day by day is definitely the way to go in this business. But, obviously we're playing for the top 2 teams in the division, and it's 2 highly competitive teams. It's going to be a great atmosphere. So I think human nature is, be amped up for the game. But around here, it seems like every night the atmosphere is electric, and it's hard not to get amped up for these games, no matter who you're playing. But it should be, it's going to be fun. We got, a month and 35 games left, or 36, or whatever it is. So it's not like, this weekend decides everything. So, I think you kind of tamper that down a little bit, but, obviously a very important game, and we're going to be ready to rock.
Ryan, obviously the results in LA weren't what you guys wanted. Is there anything you feel like you collectively as a group need to do differently in this series here at home?
Not necessarily. I think, every game is different, the way they play out. Those 3 games over there were all different baseball games, Sunday was 1-run game back and forth. The other 2 were a little different than that. I think you just kind of take it one day at a time, and you 1 inning at a time, 1 pitch at a time, as far all the way down to the smallest details. And, you just put your best foot forward and you play as hard as you can, and you let it fly.
You're in the lineup tonight against a tough lefty in Blake Snell. What are some of the keys in facing a guy like that?
Yeah, he's very good. It's been a few years, but I've had a little bit of success off him in the past, back in his Tampa days. But I don't want to give too much away. But swing at strikes and take the balls and put the ball in play. So keep it simple.
You and Gavin have both had some pretty good success against lefties since coming over here. Is there something that Victor's talking about, or maybe something kind of clicking?
I think the hitting coaches overall do a great job of putting together a good plan. I don't know if there's one thing specifically that's kind of accumulated in us having success over here against lefties. I know for me, it's, I got that homer in Arizona kind of gave me some confidence and then you go to work hitting left-handed breaking ball machines and doing things like that in the cage to prepare for lefties. And then, you just kind of roll with it. But, I feel good in the box against anybody right now. I think, you just focus on the process, having good at bats, hitting the ball hard, staying in the middle of the field, working in a couple walks, and just keep it rolling.
That was Ryan O'Hearn earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. Again, O'Hearn DHing and batting cleanup tonight for the Padres. First pitch coming up at 6:40. We send things out to Jesse and Bob Scanlan in just about 20 minutes. We'll hear from Manny Machado coming up a little bit later as well. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, stop the show. Excuse me, what happened to my voice there? Stop the show. Shohei Ohtani didn't play yesterday for the Dodgers in Colorado, had a rest day. Ohtani, though, is hitting .385 with 20 runs scored, 11 extra base hits during an 18-game on-base streak. However, the Padres have done a good job against Ohtani in 10 meetings this season. He's hitting just .211 against them with a .649 OPS. Ohtani does not have a home run against the Padres in 10 meetings this season. Remember, the guy has 44 home runs this season, just one off the National League lead behind Kyle Schwarber entering today. So key number one, stop the show. Do not let Shohei Ohtani have a big impact tonight and in this final series of the regular season between these two teams. Key number two, we're going to focus on the top of the lineup here for LA. Be good against Betts. Mookie Betts has reached base safely in 13 of his last 14 games, hitting .351 with 14 runs scored in that span. He was just 1 for 9 against the Padres last weekend. However, the one hit was a go-ahead home run on Sunday to win it for the Dodgers. Key number three, again, top of the lineup here. Don't fumble against Freddie. Freddie Freeman is riding a 6-game hitting streak coming in, 9 for 24 in that span, had a 3-run home run against Yu Darvish on Sunday. And out of all the guys in this Dodger lineup, Freeman is the one that gives Yu Darvish some problems. A .270 batting average in his career against Darvish, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 3 doubles. He sees you pretty well. Keep an eye on that matchup today between Yu Darvish and Freddie Freeman. That's key number three. Key number four, let's stay with the Dodgers offense here. No Pages power. Andy Pages has been really good against the Padres this year. A 1061 OPS against them. 6 extra base hits against them this season. No Pages power. All right, now let's focus on the Padres. Key number 5. More Manny. Manny Machado was driven in runs in 3 consecutive games following a 14-game RBI drought. Manny had 3 RBIs yesterday. He went 5 for 12 with 2 doubles and a home run in the last 3 games of the series against the Giants. He was also 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position yesterday. Bottom line, and it's no secret, the Padres need Manny to be a run producer. And by the way, the Padres went 6 for 12 with runners in scoring position yesterday. That was after they had kind of struggled with runners in scoring position for a 5-6 game span. Padres need to be good in that department today, and that includes Manny Machado. Key number 6, Luis Arise in 10 games against the Dodgers this season. And look, I look online, I hear the discourse on the station. I know there's been a lot of discussion about Luis Arise and where he hits in the lineup. However, let me give you some really good numbers against the Dodgers. In 10 games this season for Arise against LA, he's batting .357, a .902 OPS, 5 doubles, and 1 triple. So Luis Arise, who is batting second once again here tonight, Padres need Luis Arise to continue that success against the Dodgers. And that's a look at our keys to today's game. We'll talk more about one Padre in particular coming up in our next segment, and we'll also take a full look at today's starting pitching matchup between Yu Darvish and Blake Snell in just a bit as well. Padres have played very, very well in this building, and the Padres selling out this building almost every night. 55 sellouts on the season. I assume it'll be a sellout tonight, Saturday, and Sunday here in downtown San Diego. Padres entered today 41-21 at home this season. They're right now challenging the 1998 Padres for the best home record in franchise history. That winning percentage so far this season is .661 at home. The 98 team had a .667 winning percentage at home. So This is a team, the Padres, that has played very well here at home. Got to continue that in a big series against the Dodgers. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have a number of games going on right now. Pirates ahead of the Rockies 9-0 in Pittsburgh in the 9th inning. Nationals 4, Phillies 4 in the 9th inning in Philadelphia. Red Sox lead the Yankees 1-0 in New York in the 8th inning. Astros lead the Orioles 7-5 in Baltimore in the 7th inning. Royals and the Tigers are tied at 3 in the 7th inning in Detroit. Blue Jays lead the Marlins 5-1 in Miami in the 8th inning. Mets ahead of the Braves 7-2 in Atlanta in the 7th. The Rays lead the Cardinals 7-1 in Tampa Bay in the 6th inning. Twins ahead of the White Sox 4-2 in Chicago in the 5th inning. Guardians lead the Rangers 1-0 in Arlington in the 5th. Giants and the Brewers in Milwaukee, 4th inning there. Giants 2 and the Brewers 0. Games yet to begin. Cubs and the Angels coming up in a little bit in Anaheim. Reds and the Diamondbacks in Arizona at 6:40. And finally, later on this evening, A's and the Mariners in Seattle at 7:10. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday evening. When we come back, we hear from Manny. Manny Machado joins the program, Padres third baseman. We'll hear from Manny about facing Blake Snell and also about this big series against LA. We tell you what to watch for in tonight's game. And we also break down tonight's starting pitching matchup between Blake Snell and Yu Darvish. First pitch coming up in just more than 20 minutes here in downtown San Diego. We're back in a moment on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal, Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40. A big game one of a three-game series between the Padres and Dodgers. Padres trailing LA by just one game in the National League West standings entering today. A battle for first place here in downtown San Diego this weekend. We'll hear from Manny Machado in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in this series opener.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for tonight and throughout this weekend. Will this series bring the best out of Fernando Tatis Jr.? Fernando Tatis Jr. has not hit a home run in 24 games, a career-long drought. However, he does have a .405 on-base percentage and 19 runs scored in that span. Fernando's done a lot of good things at the top of the lineup, but the one thing he's not doing is hitting for power. Fernando Tatis Jr. has only 2 home runs in the last 49 games. So here's what I'm watching for tonight. In this series at home against the rival Dodgers, in the biggest regular season series at Petco Park in a while, bring the best out of Fernando. And I mean in a while in the sense of, hey, Padres are as close to first place in the NL West as deep into a season as they've been in a while. This is a huge series for the Padres here at home, especially with how things went last weekend. Does all of that in front of this crowd, does it bring the best out of Fernando? Can he find that elusive power stroke in this series? That's what to watch for in tonight's game and throughout the weekend. Speaking of Padres stars, Manny Machado spoke inside the clubhouse earlier today. Here was Manny on facing left-hander Blake Snell, one of his former teammates, for a second time in a week.
You know, we got a nice little report on him to go out there and kind of see what his game plan was against us. So, you know, go out there and try to compete with him. You know, he's definitely a big competitor. So, you know, try to go out there and out-compete him.
You got you on the mound. Just seeing what that guy continues to do, go out and battle the way that he does. Just how much does it mean to see a guy who's been through as many things as he has been to continue to go out there and try and take the ball every 5 days?
I mean, he loves baseball, man. I mean, he's done it for, I mess with him for like 40 years. I tell him all the time. You know, between here and Japan, and you know, he's just a tremendous competitor. Like I said the other day as well, he's one of the hardest guys on himself when he doesn't do well, and you know, he's just so prepared for everything that can possibly happen in the game. And you know, when you have a guy like that on the mound, taking the mound every 5th day, you know, it gives you confidence to go out there and try to perform for that guy. So you know, obviously he has so much respect between you know, with everyone in this clubhouse. So, you know, it's just awesome to go out, to see him go out there and perform and be healthy.
I know you guys are all saying this is just another series, but when you're playing a team like the Dodgers, this is the last time you guys head to head until playoffs. How important is it for you guys to control your own destiny?
Our destiny is to play our game. I think that's the most important, is play our game. You know, I think that's the most important is, you know, how can we be better today than we were yesterday? And you know, ultimately that's the strength of this ball club. So, you know, worry about today and then worry about tomorrow. But go out there and play our best baseball tonight.
No Jackson Merrill again with the injury. How big is it to see what Ryan O'Hearn and Gavin Sheets are doing with the opportunity they do have?
I mean, we've seen Gavin do his thing all year. I mean, it's no surprise. I don't think he's surprising anyone anymore. So, you know, it's just you know, these guys have come in here and they played a big role, you know, between him and Liriano, and you know, even Freddie. You know, it's been, you know, they've been chipping into their games, and you know, for me, I think the biggest thing out of everything is not what they've done on that field, but what they do in the clubhouse. I think they're tremendous people, and you know, they're really fun to be around.
You guys have great crowds every single night. You're probably going to sell out the rest of your games of the season. But do you notice an extra energy though when you are playing the Dodgers?
I mean, I think our fans bring it every single time. I mean, I think, I said it the other day, 55, I think I saw on the board, 55 sold-out games. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. I mean, our fans have brought it every single day, and, we feed off of that energy every single night, and it's awesome to play in front of them. And, obviously, whenever we're playing good baseball, it's always fun because, they get louder and they get better. So, but I don't think it's going to be any different from here on out than it's been all year. They've shown us all year that they're behind us no matter what. So, it's fun to play in front of them.
That was Padres third baseman Manny Machado earlier today inside the clubhouse. Should be a lot of fun here at Petco Park as the Padres begin this 3-game series against the Dodgers. Let's take a look at tonight's starting pitching matchup. Left-hander Blake Snell on the mound for LA tonight. The former Padre, 32 years old, his first start in this building since he won the 2023 Cy Young Award with the Padres. 3-1 this season, 1.80 ERA, 5 starts on the year, 13 consecutive scoreless innings going back to the 4th inning in his first start off the IL against Tampa Bay. He spent 4 months on the IL this season dealing with a shoulder injury. Snell pitched 6 scoreless innings against the Padres on Saturday in LA. He struck out 10 Blue Jays in 5 scoreless innings in his start before that. Meanwhile, right-hander Yu Darvish, the 39-year-old, on the mound for San Diego tonight. 2-3, a 5.97 ERA, 8 starts on the year, 37 2/3 innings, 34 strikeouts. Darvish had a really rough first inning on Sunday in LA, but then he settled in, gave up 2 home runs and 4 runs in the opening frame. He then pitched 3 scoreless innings. Darvish has traditionally been very good against the Dodgers, a 2.70 ERA and 6 starts against them, including the postseason since the start of last season. We'll see if Darvish can bounce back, especially early on in this game here tonight. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Let's set the scene one more time. Padres come in 72-56. The Dodgers are 73-55. The Padres trailed the Dodgers by just 1 game in the NL West standings. Again, LA holds the tiebreaker, so the Padres have to finish ahead of the Dodgers to win the National League West. Obviously, last weekend, a rough one for the Padres. Can they bounce back in their home ballpark here tonight? We're going to find out when we come back. Jesse Ackler, Bob Scanlan have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.